We're good.
And we're live. Yay. Oh no, Twitch is not updating. Just a
It'll
second.
get there. They're hearing you say all this.
Yep. No, my freeze my screen just froze. My screen just froze, so I couldn't see anything. Welcome to our first ever Monster of the Week Wild Hunt one shot. I am Adam, and I will be keeping for this evening slash afternoon, depending on what time zone you are. Time is fake. It's fine. Before I let my players introduce themselves, I wanted to give a little bit of a what are we doing today? So normally Monster of the Week is human hunters going after monsters, very supernatural-esque, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Angel, all of those great super. Apparently, I'm a wee bit quiet. Super amazing, pulpy shows that we all watched while growing up. Hopefully, if you were lucky enough. If not, I'm sorry. But what I've decided is to turn it on its head. So instead of being monsters, y'all are going to be fey creatures that are working for something called the Earl King, which is the leader of the Wild Hunt. You all are fairies who are wild fae that work for the Earl King, and you are hunting humans who have managed to sneak into fairy and find one of the thrown down lords of the Sidhe that are still trying to make deals with humans to increase their power. So long ago, sometime in fairy, the summer and winter courts were thrown down because they kept causing chaos, and the wild fae took over fairy in this alternate universe. And you may have helped with that if you are old enough, because fae can live an indeterminate number of years. And you know that now when the Sidhe make deals with humans, they gain power, but the humans go back to the mortal realm and cause chaos, which draws more attention to the fairy, and you all just want to live your lives in peace. You don't want humans coming into fairy because it makes everything bad. Sometimes they bring cold iron with them, which is just terrible. And so the Earl King has made it his mission to use the Wild Hunt to hunt down any human that has made a deal with the Sidhe. And so that is what your job is. You are the hunters that will go out when a Sidhe has made a bargain and try and stop the human from getting back to the mortal realm. You have a certain amount of time before they essentially can cross over, as the power that the Sidhe has granted them finishes transforming them, and they make the crossover. And so you will use whatever skills you bring to bear to track these humans down, figure out what deal they've made, because you need to know what their weakness is so that you can defeat them. You have to undo the deal they made so that you can eventually, essentially kill them. Because they've made this deal, they are permanently corrupted and they cannot be allowed to leave as a good hunter. Now, if you want to take a prisoner, you may, but the Earl King frowns on that because humans kicking around isn't good for the livelihood of the place. Any questions about the premise before we introduce ourselves?
So to make sure that I have this, we are in the Fae hunting the humans before they can leave.
Yeah, and
Okay.
we'll get a little bit more into it when we start, but I just wanted to give the overall premise so you have some background in order to introduce yourselves and your characters who you're going to be playing. So with that, why don't we? I'll use the Twitch layout. Start with Forta, who are slash what will you be playing today?
So I'm going to be playing Mathieu. The playbook I chose is the Monstrous, and I'm so glad you mentioned humans making deals and getting power and it not being able to be undone, because that's pretty much what happened to him. He used to be human, but he is very much not anymore.
Okay, that's very cool. All right, and so you're a monster. So that's why you feed on magical energy. That makes even more sense.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Excellent.
In his defense, not a great choice on his part and more of a curse than a boon. But here we are.
And maybe even they're working towards trying, like right now there's no cure for this, and maybe they're trying to find a cure. Maybe that's their ultimate goal, because they are cursed. They don't want to be cursed. So we'll see. That's cool. All right. Moving down and around the line, Kyle.
Hello, I will be playing Oliver, the Pararomantic, which is actually the playbook I said I would never use, and I'm using today. But I figured out what for this particular thing. I think it works because of the kind of inverted semi-nature. So Oliver is a pararomantic who has a relationship with a human who is not in the Fae. I think Oliver has been to the mortal realm, and that's where this relationship. So he feels this sort of kinship and sort of pull for humans, and so it's going to be a little bit difficult for him. But yeah, so he's got a rock and roll girlfriend. His girlfriend is a rock and roll singer back in the mortal realm, and that's what the whole thing is. So he's got like a little memento, like a spiked bracelet from her that he wears, and that's going to be his shtick. So I'm looking forward to giving this a try.
And what is your character's name?
Oliver.
Oliver. Okay.
Hey girls, it's Oliver.
Forta, what was your character's name? My sheet wasn't loading.
Matthew.
Matthew. Okay. And last but certainly not least, Mike.
My character's name is Bass. I chose a spooky. You see burning eyes, kind of ratty clothes, kind of like brown hair. Yeah, kind of tall. Burning blue eyes.
Very cool, very cool. All right, so Matthew, Oliver, and Bast, you have all been summoned to the court of the Earl King, and you may arrive in whatever fashion you think your characters would arrive. So, as kind of Mike was describing Bast as their layout, you may also describe each characters, what they look like, kind of their shtick. If you have a particular Fey-like creature that you're basing your character off of as well, you can go ahead and describe that as well.
Okay, so Matthew, he's not very tall. He's maybe 5'6", 5'7", but he's strong, and like his strength kind of exudes from him. That's his general aura, is just strength. He rolls up wearing he's wearing armor, Fae, whatever. It's like magical, enchanted looking stuff, but like at the same time, anybody who knows it's not actually that great. It's just very utilitarian. And he rolls up. He's a very serious individual, so he gives the proper respects and all that, because he's keenly aware of how much he does not belong in this court.
Very cool. All right. Kyle or Mike?
So Oliver rolls up. Oliver is based on a Fey creature named Billy Idol.
You're trying to make me put milk out my nose.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize you were drinking at the time. So yes, Oliver looks like Billy, and he rolls up on it looks like a displacer beast. Those large panther-like creatures with extra, like antennae or whatever those things are on the back. But this is sort of an organic motorcycle, so it's actually like the body of the displacer beast, and it's a creature. It's just with their front paws have a wheel between them, and their back paws have a wheel between them. And when he pulls up, the wheels kind of disappear. The beast kind of just walks around as a cat, and he has a microphone stand strapped to his back as sort of a club type weapon.
Very interesting. Okay. And Bast, we kind of got a description of what you look like, but is there any special way that you arrive on the scene?
I arrived sort of in like a chariot, pulled like a dog, like babies. So he's pulling me in like a chariot, as I roll up. And there's like two doors or a door on each side, with like made out of like a bone material. A bone-like material.
Very
And I sort
nice.
of have like grayish skin.
Awesome. That's very metal. Very cool. So the three of you arrive. The Earl King's court is this very gothic-looking castle, but just covered in vines and wilderness and life, and it looks like a cross between structure and nature, essentially reclaiming this castle. So it's like this strange cross between these two. So there are giant trees growing out of some of the turrets, but very nice walkways because it's just easier to walk that way. So it's a very juxtaposition, and it's very typical in Fairy, where these things can coexist easily. Whereas in our world, that is, not something that always happens. And so you are essentially, there are goblins moving throughout the castle, and goblins in Fairy are a lot different than goblins that we're used to maybe from D&D. These are pretty strong built creatures that are wearing very similar armor, perhaps the same armor that Matsu is wearing. That it's just very well and elegant armor. And you all know that goblins to be quite nasty creatures, and that if you cross them, they do not forgive or forget. And so they're just kind of roaming around in patrols normally, and they know hunters when they approach, so they don't really give you any gruff. They don't give you any kind of mouth or lip or like any looks. Maybe Matthew gets a few you're that weird hunter, but you all move into the court that appears to be again this weird. There's a throne, but it looks like this giant sequoia tree has essentially been built in. Like the throne has been built into the inside of a sequoia tree's like hollowed out husk, but the tree is still growing and it is blossoming very lovely. In the tops of this castle courtyard, and the Earl King is not here yet. What do you all do while you await his audience?
I think I go strutting around, just looking to get the lay of the land.
Okay, without needing to roll because that would be silly. You notice that there are some tables that have food put out for a variety of different tastes because fairies are varied. Try to say that 3 times fast. They're
very varied?
Yes, very varied. There are fresh delicacies of mincemeat pies, pastries, fresh meat, plants, fungus. Like there's just this just total banquet on both sides of the hall. Whatever food you need to sustain yourself is there.
Looks like a nice feast for a white wedding.
Oh no, what have I done?
So, on the one hand, Matthew is sitting there and he's like, okay, so I know I'm supposed to be waiting for this guy to show up, and it's rude to start eating before the Lord of the Land has arrived. However, that is a lot of food, and it all looks so good.
It looks delicious. It looks like the
Oh.
best food you've ever seen.
So, like, this is a struggle for him. He's going to remain, kind of hands clasped in front of him, standing a little stiffly, waiting to be, granted an audience because, that's what you're supposed to do. But, like, there's all that food, and it's right there.
Do you think you're trying to act under pressure, or do you think you've got it?
Let's see if he's got it.
All right. First roll of the night.
Okay. We're going to go with the red dice. Okay. Now remind me again, act under pressure uses...
That uses your cool unless your playbook has an upgrade move that allows you to use something else.
Okay, cool, because that's a 12.
Ooh, yeah. So not only are you doing a great job of keeping your inner hunger in check, you got it. Like, you're fine, and you don't even appear like you're struggling. Like, you just like, so it's like
nice.
super duck. Like, you're calm on the water surface, but your legs might be kicking underneath the water, but no one knows. Awesome. How about you, Bast? Anything specific that you're doing while you await the arrival?
I'll just check out the throne. Then see what the other two are doing. Yeah, just take a walk around the room. I guess investigate the room more.
So as you approach this throne room, the throne in particular, it is, like I said, made out of the sequoia tree. But as you get closer, you realize that the bark is not normal bark. It is actually mosaics of various scenes throughout fairy history that kind of spiral up this huge tree. And the bark itself is shaped into these pictures of, the time before the She-Lords were thrown down. And the Wild Hunt was kind of this thing that people were annoyed by because they were always being disruptive of the She plans. And then the Great War of throwing down the She. And you have to kind of like look up because it just keeps going. Because sequoia trees are huge. You can just see like all of these different hunts that have happened throughout the history of, and you get the sense that the tree is still growing and the mosaics are still writing themselves as time goes on. And you were not really sure how many mosaics are up there. But you get the sense that this tree somehow records the history of the Wild Fae and the Wild Hunt.
It's like it sees us.
It's like it sees you.
Because it's got eyes without a face.
Is it just gonna be Billy Joel Idol?
I'm gonna okay, Billy Joel, whole different, entirely different energy,
Yeah,
way different energy.
True.
I'll try to keep it under control. I'll try.
No, you're great. You're great.
I make no promises though.
So as you're kind of all, Matthew's got their hunger on lock. Oliver is just perusing the banquet, and Bast, you're making these interesting, insightful history lesson repeats. You hear this howling wind rip through the trees, and you hear thunder but see no lightning, and suddenly standing before you is a figure that you've all seen before. This towering 8-foot-tall figure is dressed in this thorny black metal-looking armor, a green and black cloak thrown over their shoulder, and they have this huge helm that covers their head, and it has these antlers that reach up even maybe a foot even higher, of like a 10-point buck, that just then you instead of hearing a voice in your ears, you hear a voice in your head that says, "Welcome, hunters. We have a problem. Please enjoy the feast while we talk." and Matthew, you're not sure if it was like directed at you. You're like, but you have been given permission to partake of the banquet should you wish.
So like I'm gonna try and be casual about it, but like I'm making a beeline for like the nearest roast meat because food.
And as advertised, it is delicious. Everything you pick up and eat, it is the best of whatever it is you're eating. The Earl King spares no expense / magic to make their food. And as you're eating, they remove their helm, and you see that they're a beautiful figure. Cut jawline, slick black, very black hair. They look like an elf of D&D-esque, like very sharp features, pointed ears. And you know that the Earl King was once a she that threw down and didn't like the ideas of the she and became the Goblin King. Channeling some Bowie vibes maybe, and they seat themselves in the throne, and the throne almost like reaches out to like kind of caress the Earl King as if it's like accepting him into the boughs of the tree almost, and he speaks with his voice this time, and says, "We have word from the Goblin Scouts that something has made its way into our borders and has found one of the she. We are not sure, as usual, what it is, human obviously, but what deal it made, what court it made, and where it is going. As usual, it will be up to you all to head to the location where it was spotted, try and pick up its trail, and make your way deeper into Fairy and find these interlopers and do what you do best." Any questions?
How far away is it?
It is approximately a brief ride away. Some of you have your own means of transportation, but my beasts, and he flicks a wrist, and these strange shadows like coalesce into essentially a large wolf-like creature, but big enough to ride for any of you. If you do not have your own beasts of war, my hounds will guide you.
And, remind me, what kind of reward do we get from this? What kind of money?
A steam of a successful hunt is usually reward enough for my hunters, but you will be lavished with praise, and you will be able to, as you well know, consume the energy that the she tried to gain from this deal. The energy will go into all of you, granting you a boon of your choice. And
Not for me.
obviously robbing the she of their much coveted deal.
Right.
As you know, the she gain power by making deals, and we keep them out of power by robbing them from their ability to complete their deals.
I'm excited to go.
Excellent. I enjoy hunters that are ready at all times. Fill yourselves with the food you need, and when you are ready, good hunting, and try not to make it happen too quickly. And he kind of like raises a glass to all of you and kind of toasts and sits back in his chair and just seemingly is content with your abilities and expects good things.
Okay. All right.
So easy enough. You can, whichever way you wish to convey yourself, not to belabor the travel. Essentially, you make your way to where the scouts discovered the human incursion. And coming here, it looks Fairy is a variety of different climates and different places. Sometimes it mirrors the mortal realm. Sometimes it is supernaturally charged, so it's completely beyond anything humans would ever have seen. This particular location appears to be a simple cave with a stream coming out of it in kaleidoscopic colors. So there is essentially a stream made of like a rainbow, and it seems to flow a ways for a while and then turn around a corner and head out a ways. There are a variety of different trees growing nearby, but what catches your eye, as trained hunters that you all are, is these probably size 10 shoe prints that are embedded in the mud of the banks of this rainbow river. And you can see that there is essentially dead and decaying leaves and foliage as like leading away from the river. So this human came in and you could see the corruption influence of the human on Fairy already, as where they landed essentially is being poisoned by their touch.
So we were following the tracks, then they went into the river and then back out, or?
So the tracks start at the riverbank. So it's
Okay.
so you know that humans cross over in a variety of weird ways.
Okay.
Essentially, there are moving portals that enter and exit the mortal realm, because Fairy and the mortal realm are closely tied. You can't stop it, and so you guys just have to be ready. And what happened essentially is for some reason the crossing happened, and they appeared at the riverbank and walked away from the river, and the foliage and the grasses and the bushes are dying because they were touched by the human. Oop, and we lost Forda. And they're back. So the bushes and things were essentially dying as they walked away, and then after a few feet, that stopped. So the initial corruption is the worst when they first get here, and so that's how they're found. That's essentially how the hunters can track their incursions, because that first burst of mortal energy starts killing things in a very close proximity. The human walks out of the area, and then it becomes to the hunters to try and figure out where they went, what they're trying to do, and where they're going.
I'll investigate the tracks to see how far or where into the forest they go.
All right, that definitely sounds like you wish to investigate a mystery. Unless the spooky has something else.
Hold on. I think I do have something for starting a mystery. Pretty spooky. Let's see. Oh, I premonition. I have.
Ooh. Okay, so you took premonition. So technically that's at the start of the mystery, but that's okay. We can do that now. This counts at the start of the mission. So roll plus weird, and we'll see what happens.
Okay, for what improvements do I have? Or how many improvements do I?
So all of you got one improvement, so your one improvement of your choice. So if you wanted to, you could give your weird a +1, which isn't a bad thing.
No, I know what I want to give that to. Okay.
Okay. So rolling plus weird.
Okay, 7. 7. Or I rolled a 5 plus my weird is 2.
So 7.
Yep, 7.
So on a 7 or 9, a mixed success, you get cloudy images of some bad thing that is yet to happen. You get to mark experience if you stop it. So you kind of bend down and you put your fingers near to the mortal decay that has come in from the mortal realm. You kind of close your eyes, the rest of you watch as Bass kind of twitches and maybe even shakes a little bit, and then their eyes open and cloud over as they begin to look into the past, but also look into the future at the same time. It's very, very disorienting. And you see a man. He appears to be middle-aged, and it looks like he's wearing something on his like on the front of his body, but because the image is distorted, you're having a hard time making it out. You see them go off in the northerly direction, away from the river. Then the image kind of like jumps, and you see them talking to a figure, and you can't make out the figure, unfortunately, because it's cloudy. But you do see the figure hand them something. You again can't really see what the interaction is, but you see the figure hand them something, and the man takes the thing, and you see like this like fuzzy static happens, and your premonition snaps back to you, and you're kind of like, okay. So you get the sense that the human has made a deal with something, and as part of that deal, the she has given the human like a physical object.
So yeah, I could tell that they made a deal and they passed over an object, but I couldn't tell what the object was.
Correct. Or so the thing about the she is there are two types. There's summer she and there's winter she. And the summer she tend to make deals towards growth, more like warm emotions. So they tend to be a little bit more greed, lust, those kinds of things. Winter tends to be a little bit more wrath, pride, kind of, because the deals tend to be around the sins. It just happens to be where the lines are drawn around the deadly sins. And so you couldn't tell what kind of she it was, so you don't know what kind of deal might have been made, because that is also kind of affixed to essentially the weakness that you will eventually have to exploit.
Okay, I couldn't tell what type of deal it was either.
Unfortunately, not with a 7, but you do know that that a physical object was associated with it, which usually means you in your past experience, because you're an expert hunter, that object deals usually means that the object is important, and so however you fix this deal, the object will likely be involved in it. If that makes sense.
Yeah, and I relay that to everybody else as well.
Oh no, Forta is gone again. Hopefully they come back.
They were having some.
Oliver, are you doing anything?
Yeah, sorry. Forta was having some internet connection difficulties this week with their ISP, so that may be what's going on here. Yeah, I would say that I'm looking to see. So you said the tracks are coming from a rainbow stream.
Mm-hmm.
Can we see up ahead, like what direction they're heading, like what they might be heading towards?
So yeah, you can see that they're heading towards up into a more forested region that you know. Well, actually, what do you know? So if you would like, you could investigate a mystery.
That's exactly.
To see if you know more.
Okay. All right. Plus sharp.
Yeah, I don't think the pararomantic is anything.
Nope, not for that. But the stuff that I have is all around when we find the human.
You're going to manipulate someone?
I can manipulate. When I try to figure out what they want, I have some empathy. And they might even have heard of my guide to the human realm. We'll see. Oh, yeah, that's an 11 plus something. So,
Woo! It's technically sharp. So if it's a 12
yeah,
plus.
so that's an 11. So I have a 13.
So on a 12 plus, you can ask me any questions you want about the mystery, not just the ones on the list. Technically, if you're advanced, but we'll say you're advanced, it's fine. And you get 2 holds, so you get 2 questions.
Well, the first question is on the list, the one I was originally trying to ask, which is, where did it go?
So based on Bast's vision and based on apparently your expert pararomantic tracking skills, you are able to deduce that you are able to deduce that it looks like they were heading into the forest, but they might have taken essentially a left towards what you know to be more of a mountainous region, and given your knowledge of the fairy, you are pretty sure that tends to be an old haunt of the Winter Sheep. So that you think that this person might have gone towards the old haunts of the Winter Sheep, which, as I said, tends to. Oh no, their internet did die. You know that the winter tends to be wrath, pride, and sloth. That tends to be their big sins that they deal in.
All right. As I'm looking, do I have any sense of? This is more than one question, so I'm trying to figure out how to bring it down to one question and be reasonable. I mean, you're like, what about this? What about that? Yeah. What can I tell about where they came from originally? Is there anything that I can see that tells me what part of the mortal realm they're from?
Interesting. Yes, I would say that as part of Fairy is a land of dreams and memories and emotions, and that's why sins and things are very strongly built in, and so you can sense kind of coming off of the necrotic energy from the mortal realm that this person was related in some way to death and has been wronged.
So the person themselves is related to death.
Yes, that's like either they do something that is related to death, or death is a big part of their life, or something like that. Something along those lines. Not that they are in fact related to the entity of death.
Right, they're not. It's not the Grim Reaper.
Yeah. They're not the Grim Reaper's child. It's just that death is a part of their life.
Okay, and they have been wronged. Right,
and you sense that they have been wronged. Yeah.
Right. All right. I guess I will look at my 2 friends, colleagues, compadres, and suggest that if we can see it's heading towards that mountain where there's a Winter She haunt, then we should head that way together.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so normally I'd ask one of you to roll Act Under Pressure, but since there's only two of you here, if one of you would like to pick, which one of you wants to do the act under pressure? Because this will determine what happens.
I mean, I'm pretty cool. I don't know if
Let me
cool.
see who
Brett
I am.
is best.
Cool isn't spooky.
All right, Spooky's not that cool.
I'm not that cool, no.
Okay, all right. I'm pretty cool. I'm Billy Idol, eh?
So Billy Idol will take the lead.
With an 11.
Oh wow. Okay. So as you head out,
Roll out.
You begin to move in that direction. You are able to keep yourself on the path you think that this creature, this human, took. And as you get close, as you're following this with what you think is past, you see something that you are familiar with. You see a memory. It is quite common when you are tracking humans in the ferry that their strong emotions leave an after image inside a ferry. And it is often useful to enter these memories to figure out what's going on. Like, try to figure out who these people are, try to figure out why they're here, and get some kind of glimpse into their psyche to try and figure out why these silly humans keep coming into ferry. So you don't have to go into there, but you have found a memory.
Best, you want to go in or shall I?
I can go in.
You guys, you know that you all can enter together.
Okay.
It's basically, there's this weird like mirage shimmer, and if you all step in, the memory will kind of like encompass you.
Okay. Yeah. No. Let's
what's
get in
the mirage of again?
You're not sure,
there.
so you won't know what the memory is until you go inside of it.
So. Okay, so all we can see that there is a memory. We can't see anything else from out here.
Correct.
Is that right? Do we know whether memories typically, when we're done with them, bring us back out to the same place where we entered them?
Yeah, they're not like a space and time like shift or anything like that.
Okay.
In fact, time typically tends to move even slower inside of the memories because things happen at the speed of thought. So like, you'll go in and then you'll be out, but there could be a lot of time that happens in a memory, but it doesn't happen outside in fairy. Just like different parts of fairy experience time differently. Memories are usually the internal time of the memory is slow, but the external time is fast. So it's just like over.
I'm pretty nervous about this, but let's roll in.
Let's roll in. Okay, Optimus Prime.
Would I be able to use my telepathy to see if we're the only ones around here? Like, I wanted to see if we're the only ones here.
So let me read telepathy real quick. So why don't you read a bad situation, and
I don't want to read like particular thoughts. I just want to tell if we're the only ones around here.
Yep. No, I get where you're going with that. So why don't you roll? Why don't you read the bad situation? Well, why don't you read the situation and see if it's bad?
Oh, where is that? Or
Plus sharp.
So, plus sharp.
oh,
Yeah, and you don't have to be talking to anyone or experiencing. You can just do it. It's pretty cool.
right. Yeah, my sharp isn't that good.
Oh no.
You'll be fine. I believe in you.
As part of Monster of the Week, so since we're all learning how to play, you have this thing called luck,
Okay.
which you can expend at any time, usually after a roll because it's easier to do that. And you mark off a point of luck, and then it counts as if you've gotten a 12 on the roll.
Can I maybe take a look? Well, no, this is a telepathy thing, so no, I don't think I can help out.
This
I was
telepathy.
for just looking around would be different, but no, not for this. Yeah.
And I will say, because it's a one shot, normally hunters have like a pool of like 10 luck. For a one shot, usually you have like half that much luck, so you only have like 5 luck points instead of 10.
Okay.
And so if you can roll first, see what you get, and then if it's pretty crappy, you can sacrifice one of your luck points essentially to boost it to 12.
Okay. Yeah, I'll roll. Yeah, I'll use one of my lucks.
Okay. So for a moment, it seemed like maybe you weren't going to get anything telepathy-wise, but then your mind casts out, yeah, you definitely can ask a question, which is, "Are we alone?" Right? That was
Yep.
essentially the question you wanted to ask. Technically, you can have 2 more questions after that because you've rolled a 10 plus on the read a bad situation. And the answer to that question is no. You are not alone. There are creatures nearby. What are your other 2 questions?
Where are these creatures?
So they are lurking near the path you were taking. It seems like you're not sure because you're reading their minds, but you don't read that they've noticed you. So you've noticed them, but they haven't noticed you.
Right. Could I what about in front of us? Is there anything I can tell through the mirage? About the mirage?
You can tell that, and you also sort of know this, that the mirage is not dangerous to you. Some of them are. Some dreams are dangerous. This dream does not appear to be dangerous. And you also know, just as being Fey hunters, you would know this, that when you're inside of the memory, just like you can't see inside the memory right now, if you go inside, people outside of the memory also cannot see in. So these creatures that haven't noticed you yet won't be like, aha, they're in the memory, we'll just wait for them to come out. Like they still won't know you're there because they can't see into the memory as well. If that makes sense.
Okay. There are creatures watching us.
Right. What I hear you saying is, I'm not just dancing with myself.
No, looks like.
Forda!
Yep. Back in a fucking car.
This is dedication.
It's something.
Car streaming, brought to you by Forda.
Yep. Oh dear, what am I sitting on? Nothing important.
So to catch you up, you all managed, Bast and Oliver, through a combination of doing some pretty amazing rolls, were able to find out that the human that crossed over has already made a deal, or is in the process of making a deal. The premonition is not quite clear about that. But the deal that is being made is with a she that has given the human an object of some kind, and objects given in this way usually mean that they are integral into stopping the creature. You know that this human crossed over has been wronged, so something has wronged them. They have death associated with their life in a normal, everyday way, like somehow their life revolves around death, or death is a very integral part of their life. And you have sussed out that they might be dealing with Winter She, which you know tends to be the realm of pride, wrath, and I already forgot what I told you guys. Sloth. Pride, wrath, and sloth tend to be the Winter She's domain of deals that they tend to make. And currently, you are all standing outside of a memory impression that is in the forest that you've been tracking this human, and Bast has let you know that using their ability with telepathy, that they've noticed that there are creatures in the forest nearby. They haven't currently noticed you yet, but that they are there. And that Bast also knows that the memory is not dangerous to enter should you wish to enter the memory.
Well, I'll enter because I like to know things.
Let's get in there.
Excellent. So you watch Matthew just like, awesome. Bloop.
Hey! Like I said, I'm not dancing with myself, and I jump in.
Okay, so
I was using it because she didn't hear it before.
and Bast, I'm guessing you follow in.
Yep.
Okay, so the three of you shimmer in, and I don't know. Have you entered memories before on previous hunts? Is this the first memory you've entered? So
I
Oliver
imagine
says,
it's not the first for Matthew, but it's always a strange feeling, at least for him, because it's like, oh, usually mental things are not something you just enter into, but like, this is the land of fairy. You just do that here.
Yep. And what about Bast? Is Bast old hat at this?
Same. Is still weirded out by it, but has done it before. Yeah.
Okay, so all of you. So this isn't your first rodeo, so to speak, with going into memories. So you enter and you know what's going to happen. You become slightly incorporeal because this isn't. You are not a part of this anymore. It's kind of like going to a movie that is not only 3D but all around you, and you kind of just appear in a place. Oliver and Bast, although technically Oliver might know a little bit about this, Bast probably has not been to the human world a lot, given that you are a fairy and a fae. Oliver, you might have to pretend like you've not been to the human world a lot because, that's not really what you're supposed to do.
I mean, sometimes I just have to let out a rebel yell and do what I want to do.
But Mathieu, being a once human, this is familiar. You notice a little quaint downtown. It even has cobblestone streets, lamp posts, and you see a man in his 40s walking down the street, and he is heading towards what you know to be a local courthouse. And he walks up the steps, and you kind of are like almost dragged along with them. And you're seeing the sights and sounds, and the humans around you are very vague and not at all defined. This human is, so you know that this is their memory. And they open the door to the courthouse, and they go in. And as you kind of are pulled along, I need one of you to either investigate a mystery or read a bad situation.
Yeah, I'm looking around. Trying to...
Let's read a bad situation.
Okie doke.
You got it, Forta?
Roll sharp.
Does anyone have better sharp than 0? Just before
yeah, that's why I was like, I'll look around. Yeah, no, I'm pretty sharp. I'm pretty sharp. Hey.
Pretty sharp. Okay.
I mean, yeah. We'll see, though. Well, the great thing about PBTA games is that sometimes it's more fun to fail. And that's good because even with a pretty good sharp... my total's 4 because I rolled snake eyes.
Oh, no.
Wow.
I mean, there's only so much you can do when you get those bad boys.
Yeah. So, technically, you get to mark experience.
For what it's worth. I mean...
you never know. Maybe we'll play again.
Wait.
Oh, you could use your luck.
We can aid each other, right?
Well, you could help out, but with Snake Eyes...
It's not going to be enough.
That's fair.
Yeah.
No, I want to see it. No, it's fine. Let's roll with it. I want to roll with this.
You roll 1 or 2d6.
You're 2d6.
Okay.
You're looking around, and you watch the vision start to distort, and the languages that they're speaking are no longer recognizable to you, Oliver, as you get sucked into this strange quasi. You've heard about this, but perhaps it's never happened to you. You are sucked into the daydream. So you are in a memory, but then now are sucked into a daydream. And do the rest of you follow him? You see this happening. Like, you see Oliver being like, whoa!
I'll follow him.
Perfect. Oh, no.
Apparently, me and Basher the daydream before to stayed behind.
So we'll see if Matthew follows you. But as you get sucked into the daydream, you see this strange, almost idyllic setting. It appears very nice, very relaxful. But in the distance, you see this creature that's starting to like lumber towards you quite quickly. And before it can close on you, you're kicked back out of the daydream, and you appear next to the person that you had been following, and you see that they are in the middle of a conversation. So you've missed part of the conversation, essentially. And it's the same man in his 40s. He's talking to this young-ish woman. It says sheriff on her shirt collar, whatever that means, Bast. Oliver and Matsu, you know what that means. But she says, Vince, I'm sorry. I can't do anything about it. This is the way it has to be. The paperwork has been processed. I can't stop it. This is how it has to be. And you see Vince start getting angry and saying, "This is bullshit. I can't believe," and his voice starts to distort slightly. And you get the sense that there is another one of these weird moments in time. I need now someone to act under pressure.
I'll do
I'll
that.
do it.
Okay.
Oh, go
Go
ahead.
for it. Go for it. Whomever.
Both of us or one of us?
Either one of you can do it. Both of you can do it.
I'll do it then. I'll do
I'll
it.
do it as well.
Yeah. That's 13.
What's acting under pressure? Cool. Okay.
Technically cool, yeah. All right. So as the dream / memory wavers and you feel like another pull from something else is pulling on you, you solidify the memory, and Vince, you see, reaches out and tries to grab the sheriff across essentially the counter to like lunge at her. And this woman is like, "What are you doing, Vince? You can't do that." And she like grabs his arm, reverses the hold, and like slams him into the counter because she's a police officer and they know what they're doing. And she's basically like, "Well, now you're under arrest, jackass." And you see she starts arresting him and essentially cuffing him. And as that happens, you see him just like, "You're not gonna get away with this!" And in the dream, the memory fades away. And you are back in Ferry.
So I have a little bit of empathy with these mortals.
Yep, you do.
You do.
I'm trying to think if I should now. I mean, Kyle thinks he's figured some things out. I'm trying to think if I should roll. So I have a move called Monster Empathy.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to work out what a supernatural creature desires. No, I think that's the right time. I'm trying to figure out what I think he might be having, what he was wanting.
Sure.
So I'm going to try to think. I'm going to roll plus charm.
Okay.
I'm very charming. I mean, Billy Idol. Anybody want to help me out?
Sure, I'll help.
Roll. Okay, you gotta. But I guess you have to do a roll also. Yeah, you got to roll plus school to see what happens.
Yeah,
Okay.
to help out. Yeah, it's a roll for school.
One of those dice went wonky. It landed sideways, point up.
Perfect. Super helpful.
Okay, so 1 sec. That's 8, 10.
Whew.
10. So
Okay.
that's plus 1.
All right. Good. That gets me to a 7.
Okay, so on a
Sweet.
7, you get 1.
I got one question. So when I work out what a supernatural creature desires, roll plus charm. On a 7, hold 1. Spin your hold to ask the following questions. People answer honestly. Yeah. What does he desire? What is it? What does he want?
So based on what you just saw, I would say the creature that is in fairy, not the creature that was in the memory, right? So the creature in the memory went to confront the sheriff about something, but the creature now that you are tracking, you get the sense that revenge is a pretty strong motivator.
Oh,
That
that I'm glad that I rolled because that is not what I was thinking.
Yeah, I was thinking revenge though. But, like,
I mean-
I just now need to know for what end.
I mean, I think the taking his house, like he got evicted, something foreclosure, something like that, and that's why, and he didn't want to lose his house, and that's what I'm imagining anyway. I could be wrong. So at least that's Vince. Now, whether or not who we're following is Vince, I don't know. It could be like somebody who loved Vince or whatever. All right.
could be.
And the memory ends, and we're back in the ferry.
Yep. So the memory like closes around, like it's just very gentle. Now, as you come back out into fairy, the mirage is still kind of there because it lasts for a while when humans impact fairy, but you know that you can't go back in. Like you've essentially been touched by the memory, so the memory won't let you back in. So you can't. So essentially, from a gamer standpoint, it can't prevent you from just trying to do that act under pressure again in that spot where you screwed up.
Do I notice if any of the creatures are watching us again?
Funny you should say that. So you guys managed to get there unscathed, but as you step out, Bass, you were like ready and you kind of like had your telepathy kind of going. You've noticed that they've noticed you. So you can either act under pressure to try and leave, or you can let them come, or do whatever you want. Like you know the creatures are converging on your location.
I think we need to just keep going.
Yeah, say we leave.
Are they dangerous creatures?
Yes.
You know that they are dangerous, but you don't know what level of danger.
Okay. Let's try and forge ahead.
I'd say they're dangerous, and I don't really want to fight them if you don't have to.
So that would be an
Agreed.
act under pressure.
Is that all of us or just one?
Yeah.
Kind of all of you.
Okay.
I'm just not familiar with how this.
Well, yeah, it's usually one, but we'll do it, everybody.
I got a 9.
Okay.
I got a 7.
3.
No.
Awesome. I love it. So you guys gain some ground. So I will say you are not surprised, you are not surrounded, you're not at a disadvantage, but these things close on you. And you notice them to be sprites, which are these small winged creatures. Their wings are, to be razor sharp, and they have very elaborate fanged, filed teeth into points, and they are essentially diving at you to stab you with their little needle swords that they have. So that's what's going on. You know also that sprites are servants of winter. Perhaps
Making
further
notes.
confirming that you are dealing with a winter she.
All right.
I'm pretty sure we're being raided. Yes, we are. Hello, Scraticus and company.
Oh, hello. Kindness is a free action. You know, empowered by the apocalypse, you have to roll for kindness. Not really.
Yeah,
really.
empowered by the apocalypse, there can be free action.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna unsheath the microphone stand from my back and say, "I don't need a gun," and go try to kick some ass.
Awesome. So yeah, there's only a couple of them. It seems like maybe a handful, but yeah. So go ahead and kick some ass.
Unfortunately, I'm more of a lover, not a fighter.
A lover than a fighter. Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn it.
That's
Damn
okay.
it.
I'll back you up.
All right, you gonna try to help me out?
Yeah.
All right, you gonna roll? What is that? Plus cool?
Yeah. So what? That's 8.
8. All right, so let's hope that. Well, that cancels out my -1 on tough.
Definitely not a fighter and a lover.
Okay, I have a 10.
Okay, so the two of you together, working
That's-
together, you get a 10.
I'm really glad that you helped me out because otherwise I would have had a 9. So
So you will do your harm.
okay, so my weapon is 2 harm.
Okay. And because you got a 10 plus, that means you get to pick an extra effect. You can gain an advantage or give +1 forward. So basically, you can take +1 forward or give +1 forward. You can inflict terrible harm, which means you do more damage. You can suffer less harm because they're going to stab you back. Or you could force them where you want them.
I mean, I'm gonna force them where I want them. I'm gonna try to kind of my goal is to kind of corral them together so they're not like flying everywhere and stabbing us in the back and everything.
Okay, yeah, that'll make it definitely either Bast's or Matsu's next action potentially easier to do if they're doing an area effect. So, all right, you do 2 harms. You definitely you just take out one of these sprites and you knock it down with your 2 harm. You both suffer 1 harm because Matthew, by helping out, you've exposed yourself to the same danger that Oliver was exposed to. So you both take 1 harm, and I need you both to act under pressure right now.
Okay. I have a question about armor in this game. Does it
That's right.
apply
Yes.
in this case?
Yes. So if you have
Okay.
armor, so the monstrous class has armor for sure. I don't think the pararomantic does, and I don't think the spooky does unless you took that upgrade, Mike. So yes, you take 0 harm, but I still need you to act under pressure.
Okay.
What upgrade would that be? Is that a move or one of the advancement?
It's one of the general moves, so it's you roll. You would roll plus cool. Actually, Bast, you don't have to. It's just the 2 people taking harm.
If it's one of the moves, I didn't take it.
Oh, you mean armor thing? Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I think the spooky gets armor from something, if I recall. But anyways,
Do I?
Oliver and Matsu need to roll act under pressure.
All right.
I got 11.
Okay, you're fine.
Under pressure. Ding 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 ding. Oh yeah, that's a 9.
That's good enough. Okay, so you feel these tiny little dagger needle blades that they're wielding. They seem to be dripping with this strange liquid as they were stabbing you with them. You get the sense that sprites don't play fair. Okay. These pixies are flying around you, or excuse me, not pixies, sprites. These sprites are flying around you. What are Bast and Matsu, what are you doing?
So, since they've been brought into this nice little area like they have, I'm gonna whip out my natural magical force, and I'm gonna go ham.
Heck yeah. I love it.
So, like, its range is close. I'm not entirely certain the mechanic of that in Monster of the Week.
So close essentially just means you have so close is standing near them. Far is essentially a ranged weapon.
Remember what Grover taught you.
So
That was a deep cut.
yeah, that's a hard deep cut. So yes, close just means you don't have to touch them; you have to be standing by them, right? So
Okay.
hand means you have to basically be able to put your hand kind of like by them. Close is like it's essentially melee range if we're thinking in 5e terms.
Cool. So, I don't know how many of them that this will hit, but I'm gonna try and use my magical force to do them some harm. Over as wide of them as I can, because magic.
Because magic, yeah.
What is that? That's plus tough?
Yes.
Okay. So that's 9.
So 9 is yes. So 9 is you and whatever you're fighting inflict harm on each other, and the amount is established based on the game. So what is the harm you do from your ability?
2.
2 harm. All right. So you take out another one of these little sprites, and you see one of the last one. So there were 3, and the last one is kind of like spiraling as your force just explodes out of you. But as you go to explode, these sprites, the one gets like a slash at you, does no damage because your armor still protects you from their 1 harm weapon. But I need you to act under pressure again.
Alrighty. That's 10.
That's enough. So again, your monstrous form is able to shrug off the essential poison of their blades. So Bast, what are you doing? You have this one sprite left that's kind of like spiraling in after we're just getting blasted with magical energy.
Is that the only one that's left?
Seems to be the only one that's left. Yep.
I'll walk up to it and shoot it with my shotgun.
So what is the fairy reskin of your shotgun? So what does this thing look like that is this boomstick, so to speak?
Completely made out of bone and wood.
Okay.
Like a ivory, trigger, and handle. And it shoots out bone as well.
Very cool. All right. So yeah, you whip out this magical construct that essentially just fires bone knives at things, and go ahead and kick some ass.
All right, that's tough.
Yes, that is tough.
All right. Nine.
9. So again, you because your shotgun does 3 harm. So this thing is just exploded as these bone protrusions just go flying into this creature, and you suffer 1 harm, and you also need to act under pressure.
Okay.
Which
That's
is plus cool.
okay. Nine.
Okay, that's enough. You do not have to essentially become poisoned,
Okay.
which would have been real bad. Okay, so yeah, these little sprites are not hard to take down. You all managed to pretty easily whoop them, and perhaps have been slightly more confirmed that maybe you are in fact dealing with winter shenanigans.
Shenanigans.
Shenanigans indeed. So what do you guys do?
I mean, I think we should keep. Clearly, we're on the right track. We should keep looking for more.
More. All right, so
For
yeah, I'm just going. We're just going past.
for those watching who are new, it's because I'm playing basically the Fae version of Billy Idol, also known as Billy Idol,
Yes.
because
Yes.
he's Fae already.
Yes. So someone can either investigate a mystery or read a bad situation to figure out what is your next path.
I was following the tracks earlier, so unless somebody really wants to, I can keep following the tracks.
I mean,
And if
okay
somebody really wants to, feel free, please.
I'll go then. Unless someone else wants to.
Go ahead.
Go for it,
Alright.
Best. Let's see what you got.
10.
Nice.
And nice.
Very
So,
sharp.
Yeah. I'm assuming you were investigating a mystery or reading a bad situation.
Yep.
Yep. Okay. On a 10, you get to ask me questions. So, what questions would you like to know?
About the where we're going.
Yeah. So you can tell if you want, if one of the questions is obviously where should we go? That's fine. You notice that that the sprites had come in from a particular direction, so you get the sense that they were covering this human's path, and so you know which way you should be going.
Okay.
So based on that roll, you can definitely know which direction you're going. If you want to ask another question about either from read a bad situation or investigate a mystery, whichever, I don't know which one you rolled. They're both sharp, so it just depends on which one you rolled.
Investigate a mystery.
Okay, so you can ask what happened here, what sort of creature is it, what can it do, what can it hurt, where did it go, what was it going to do, and what is being concealed.
What can it do?
What can it do? You get the sense that it is going to be based on your pararomantic companion, and that it's probably vengeance filled. You get the sense that it's going to be strong, in the sense of like it's going to be able to do a lot of pain and inflict a lot of damage, because you're getting the sense that it's probably going to be wrath related. And so those creatures tend to be pretty strong. They don't tend to be able to do much of like magic or have any clever, sneaky abilities, but they tend to just pack a punch.
Okay. Right. Is that all the questions I get?
Yep.
Okay.
So you guys, if you continue to follow the path laid out before you, and as you're kind of winding through the woods, there's several options. You kind of are heading towards the mountains, but you see essentially a variety of paths that kind of splinter off and go in general directions. You are able to follow the path you think you're going, but if you would all like to do something else, I don't know if you wanted to, pararomantic and spooky have some crazy abilities, so if there at any point you were going to try and do something, you could. And the monstrous even has some pretty interesting abilities.
I need to.
Depending on what upgrades you've taken.
I need to see. I mean, I think we need to find this person.
Yep.
Because I need to find out what their dark desires might be. And then also, yeah, no, I think that's also, yeah, I don't think I have any. Everything else that I have is pretty much when we find the human.
Okay.
What about you, Matthew? What you got?
So, There's a thing I could do, but he'd be reluctant to do unless there's like water nearby deep enough to like swim through. And since we're headed towards the mountains, I feel like that's not the case. So yeah.
Okay. Anything Bast wants to do?
I'll no, not yet. Everything I have is for later.
Everything I have is for later. Excellent. All right. That's okay. So as you continue on, you try to pick the straightest path, I guess. You start heading up into the mountains. Why doesn't someone roll me plus sharp? This is
I'll take-
this is just a plus sharp.
Just
Actually.
just straight up plus sharp.
Yep.
All right. It's 11.
Okay. So you recall during the Shi Civil War, there used to be a fortress somewhere in these mountains.
Used to be a what? I'm sorry, I had a pupper.
Yeah, you had a pupper. A Shi fortress, so a stronghold of the Shi. And you, based on where you are now and kind of like where the tracks are going and all of the things you've seen, you get the sense that that might be where you need to go.
Well, I think we should roll up into that cradle of love and see what they got. You didn't let that one go by.
Man, sometimes, Kyle. Sometimes. All right. So you continue your trek up the mountains, and it's starting to get a little cold. A little frost is starting to work its way into your armors. Your steeds starting to feel a little leery about continuing. Clearly, the effects of winter are starting to take hold. Again, giving credence that there is likely some kind of winter Shi in residence. And as you get closer, you notice another one of those shimmering mirage-like dreams, or memories, rather. Excuse me.
I'm doing it.
Oh yeah, no, I'm right there. I'm right there after you.
Matthew,
I
Matthew
gotta
and
know.
Oliver charge into the memory. What about you, Bast?
Yeah, I'm joining as well.
All right. So all three of you charge into the memory. This memory seems pretty dark. And by that I mean it's like nighttime. And you get the sense that this is much later in life, or time-wise at least. The man that you had seen in the previous vision or memory looks a lot older. Whether or not that is time or stress, you're not sure. They just look older. You're not sure if they are older. And you also know that with memories, there is some amount of perception put into the memory. So this is his memory. So he might feel older. Therefore, he is appearing older to all of you. He might not actually be older. That might be a mood for some people.
Oh yeah, no, I identify very strongly with this person right now. Not the assaulting a sheriff.
I missed out like all of that.
So as I was saying, he looks older, but you know that memories have a perception based to it a little bit. So if he feels older, his memory might make him look older to you all, though he could still be the same age as he was in the last vision. It's just that because memory is emotional based, he could feel older, therefore he will appear older to outside viewers. And again, you all are incorporeal and not a part of this because it's a memory. And as you're kind of going forward, you see in the distance a building of some kind. You can't quite make it out, or at least you can't make it out yet. But you can see what look like these strange contraptions of wires and metal and girders, and there is this stringed chain with this huge, large ball of some kind. Matu, you know this to be a wrecking ball and a construction equipment. Vast and Oliver, you would never know what this is because Fairy doesn't have construction equipment. So you would never know what this looks like.
I've never seen anything like it at the shows.
Yeah, it's probably at your rock shows you've never seen a wrecking ball.
I mean, I heard she came in like a wrecking ball.
There it is. There it is. There it is. You're the worst, Kyle. You're the worst.
Listen, you set me up for it.
I did. And as the memory tries to go forward, you all need to act under pressure.
Ten.
Okay.
$11.
Uh-oh. How about you, Bast?
No, actual 11, not Snake Eyes. Actual 11.
Oh, I thought you went 1 and 1.
No, 11. 10 plus 1.
Okay, cool.
Okay. What is it?
Act under pressure.
Okay.
It's cool, plus cool. Oh, no,
Okay.
sorry.
Here is information.
No, stop, Google.
That's another mood.
Say that again, Mike.
Oh, hold on. 10.
A 10. Okay, so without the interruption from my friendly phone, you all kind of like you feel this like weight pulling on you. Bast, given that your spooky nature would probably clue you into the most of this, you are suddenly aware that you did not check this dream before you entered it. This memory is dangerous, and this memory can have consequences.
Are you saying with that ball there, and that we didn't validate, that we didn't check ourselves before we wrecked ourselves?
We're taking psychic damage here on this afternoon. It's fine.
Sorry. I'm channeling my inner pun bard, Peter Voss.
No, it's fine. I love it. Correct. You did not check yourselves before you might wreck yourselves. And so you push through whatever curtain of memory this was. But that is one of the signs that this memory holds dangers. And so while you are not able to affect the memory, you know quite well that this memory can affect you, which is why jumping into human memories is dangerous, because they're not all pleasant. Not that the last one was pleasant, but that not pleasant for the viewers. And so the person walks forward, and you can see now in this space, it looks like to be a demolition site. There was a building here, and there appears to have been a demolition, and this person that you've been following is just staring at the demolition site. You all can kind of interact with the memory to find out more if you would like.
What?
I'm gonna. Okay, so being that we're in a memory, do certain senses still hold sway?
Yeah.
Like if I were to start sniffing around.
You could in fact sniff around. You know that the memories that humans leave in Fairy, they are fully sensory, so you can experience memory. And given that you now know that this memory can affect you, you know that the sense of smell will definitely work. And if a dart comes flying out of the darkness, it could hurt you.
Okay, so I'm going to change shape, and it's not going to do me much good for mobility because.
Oh no!
Am I back?
Yep, you're back. So not much good for mobility is the last thing we almost heard.
Okay, so being that what he transforms into has fin at the back as opposed to feet, it's not much good for mobility on land, but it has a really great sense of smell, and it's generally sturdier, stronger than his normal form. So, like, hopefully, if I get clubbed with a wrecking ball, I'll survive.
Sure. So what are you
And
trying to do?
I'm trying to catch a scent of what. I was going to say of him, but if it's been recently demolished and he's just standing here looking at it, it might not actually have his scent on it.
You could always try.
I'm going to go for it with backup in mind of other people scents. Like specifically, I'm going to be on the lookout for people that have been recently buried, because that's always an option in construction and demolition sites.
That's true. So this sounds like either investigate a mystery or read a bad situation. Technically, they're both plus sharp, but you can pick which one you're trying more for.
I'm doing investigate a mystery because I actually get a bonus to that in this form.
I was gonna say I think you get a +1, right, as shapeshifted.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Makes sense.
Okay, that's 7, 8.
8. Okay, so with investigate a mystery with an 8, I believe you get to hold 1. 7 and 9. Yes, hold 1. So you get to ask what happened here. What sort of creature is it? Less maybe. What can it do? What can hurt it? Where did it go? What was it going to do? And what is being concealed?
So I want to know what happened here beyond like demolition. I want to know why it's important to him.
Excellent option. And actually, sensorily, smell helps you out here. You smell and you sniff around, and although before we get too much further, what kind of fairy creature do you shift into? You said you have fins, but what?
So I look essentially like a Selkie gone wrong.
Awesome.
So like, I've got the back half of a seal, or maybe just a large seal. I was gonna say maybe a walrus, but no, it's a large seal. But the front half is more kind of mixing like a foo dog, that lion canine aspect. So he's got these big tusks coming out his face, and like looks vaguely like a dog or a lion in the face. He's a cool sea lion.
Yes, the puns. All right, Mike, you gotta think of a pun, because now everybody's getting in on the pun game. I love it. So yes, as you're sniffing around and kind of investigating this location, you smell the unmistakable scent of death, and a lot of death. And I don't know if you personally, Borja, have ever smelled a slaughterhouse before.
No, but I have smelled plenty of dead animal in my life.
But that is the overwhelming, powerful scent that you smell, and you get the sense that that used to be a slaughterhouse. And as you're kind of investigating, and you asked what happened here, you see standing, like still kind of partially demolished, like but laying down in the wreckage, is something that says Morton's Slaughterhouse. And you just have this image of this man standing over and just just staring at this wreckage and this slaughterhouse, and it seems to be perhaps his slaughterhouse, or he was part of the slaughterhouse or something. He has some kind of connection to the slaughterhouse, and it seems like someone destroyed it.
Okay. Sounds like, and this is probably biased, but it sounds like somebody did a hostile takeover of this business. Those are always messy.
What about Bast and Oliver?
Again, I want to like try to work out what Vince is actually wanting, or whoever's memory this is. I'm trying to work out what they desire.
So roll plus charm.
Okay, that's a 9. So I'm going to ask one question.
Yeah, you get one of those questions, right?
Again, what would it most desire? We say vengeance, but vengeance on whom? I guess it's really what I'm trying to figure out. Or what kind of vengeance?
So yeah, since you're rolling this empathy check, I will say that you kind of you touch the memory a little bit in a way that most Fae cannot. But given your para-romantic abilities, you're able to manipulate this memory a little bit. That might freak out your companions. I don't know. We'll see. But you kind of get this weird, like almost flashback for a sec, and you see flashes of a courtroom and this man standing in this Vince, who you've seen from the last vision, standing in a courtroom in a business suit on what would be the plaintiff's side, like yelling at a judge, and you see another man who's off on the defendant's side, just kind of like smirking and just shaking his head, with the lawyers involved, obviously. But the image kind of focuses on those two. And then you have a jump flash to Vince again confronting this man, and he just kind of like holds up his hands and like, there's nothing I can do. And then you jump flash to perhaps a few days ago, where there was a beautiful slaughterhouse. I mean, slaughterhouse being beautiful is maybe, take or leave it.
It's a big, beautiful slaughterhouse.
Big, beautiful slaughterhouse. It looked and it is Morton's slaughterhouse. And what you can't see in the sign now, that you could see in the sign then, is it says underneath the sign, owned and operated by the Morton's family since 1900. And you see Vince standing there looking at the wreckage of the slaughterhouse, and the two images kind of transpose themselves on one another, the complete restored slaughterhouse. So you got to get the sense that like that's what he's seeing, and he can't bring himself to see the fact that it's destroyed, that it's gone. And you get a tiniest glimpse of him and this other person, whomever that is, and you sense like this rage towards this other person. Bast, you doing anything?
I'll use my telepathy to investigate a mystery.
Ah, very interesting. Go for it.
7.
7. So let me pick up. I think you get 1. Yeah, you get 1 to investigate a mystery.
Okay.
So you can ask what happened here, but you've kind of gotten that. You can ask what sort of creature is it? What can it do? What can it hurt? Where did it go? What is it going to do? And what is being concealed?
What is it going to do? Like, what's going to happen?
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good question. You get the sense that given the revenge and the wrath and the wreckage that was his potentially life, you get the sense that Vince wants to kill the person responsible for ruining his life. And because you're using telepathy, you can almost touch Vince's mind a little bit. You get the sense that the person responsible for the hostile takeover, as was very cleverly deduced out of character, but also maybe in character.
No, that was in character.
Okay, great. So yes, Matthew's hostile takeover deduction. It's worse than that. Like, they have gone past reasonable like it's probably just this person's fault, but this person now, Vince might blame the cop, right? Because there was that altercation in the police office where he was begging the cop to help him, and the cop and the sheriff was like, I can't, there's nothing I can do. And she ultimately had to arrest him because he assaulted her. And so there might, and you missed part of that vision, so there could have been even more people involved in what's going on. So you get the sense that this person wants to kill everyone who he thinks harmed him and ruined his business. And so he has come to Fairy looking for a deal.
It looks like they want to kill each other, or the other person wants to kill. One of them wants to kill each other. But I relay that to everybody else.
Yeah, and so you guys are starting to piece all of this together, and as you do, the memory slowly collapses in on itself, and you are all kind of pushed out of it just very naturally. Only moments having passed after entering it.
You know, if not for that small detail, I might have let him go. All right. And I'm gonna press on. I'm gonna change back to my other shape, but I'm gonna press on.
Yeah. Back to being vaguely human looking. So that's actually a question for you, Matthew. Do you have like any kind of traits that carry from Selkie sea lion shape over to the regular bipedal shape, or is it just a complete change?
I mean, it's pretty much a complete change.
Okay.
If anything transfers over, it's slightly sharper teeth and like maybe a notable bit of freckling in certain areas that you're not going to notice while he's in armor.
Fair.
And like,
very fair. All right. So
he's a decent swimmer.
He's a decent swimmer. Yeah, he's a great swimmer. Yeah, I like it. Okay. So the rest of you are like girding you're like, oh, okay, we're getting close, and you make your way up the mountain, getting closer to the stronghold that Oliver seems to recall about from the war.
You mean the Cradle of Love?
Nope. I said
Okay,
stronghold.
that's fair. The she wouldn't be a Cradle of Love, that, or not the winter she, maybe more the summer she.
Yeah, not the winter she.
Yeah, that's fair. All right.
So you make your way up towards this stronghold, and as you get up there, you see the remnants of a stronghold. It's clearly been a few years since this thing was in the height of its power. It's got large, jagged frost, like almost stalagmites, but they're actually like just frost crystals that have grown up to kind of form the fortress's walls. But they are cracked and broken in pieces. They're no longer a whole wall. It looks very vaguely fortressy. And if you didn't know there was a fortress here, you might have overlooked it. Just be like, oh, that's just natural, like glacier, like breaking of ice and debris. But it has a vague bastion shape that you will recall from winter fortresses. And you see that the doorway is wide open. There is actually no even door. It's just an opening in the wall that leads deeper into the fortress. And you see that, now that you know what you're looking for, you see that gentle thrumming glow that is winter's power that essentially keeps this ice no matter what happens. And that frosting feeling you feel kind of like seeping into you. Again, that's a stereotypical winter thing. What do you all do?
I definitely want to take a few moments to kind of look around, investigate if we still see his tracks, if we see any other marks that he's here, and see, is there anything else that kind of indicates what he's up to.
Sounds like you want to read a bad situation.
I was trying to investigate a mystery. I don't know if...
Okay.
Is it... I don't think I see any immediate danger that would tell me it's a bad situation.
Can I read a bad situation though? Because I just have a bad feeling.
Sure.
So I have an 11 on investigative mystery.
Okay, so you hold 2,
Mm-hmm.
9.
and you hold 1.
So my questions are, first of all, well, the first obvious one is where did he go?
You get the distinct sense that he absolutely went inside this fortress.
So he's
and you get the sense that his desire for vengeance and wrath has essentially acted as a beacon to this she, and the she therefore has acted as a beacon to the person, and essentially has drawn them in like a spider and a fly kind of thing.
Okay, so he's gone inside. What's being concealed here?
As you kind of like look across the fortress, there definitely are broken pieces of the wall and the outer keep area of this fortress. You notice that there are creatures actually hiding in the ice crystals. So
Oh, well, it's a good thing somebody's reading a bad situation then, my friend.
yeah. So, Matthew.
So- Please remind me what questions I have available to me.
Of course. You can ask, what's my best way in? What's my best way out? Are there any dangers we haven't noticed? What's the biggest threat? What's most vulnerable to me? And what's the best way to protect the victims?
Okay, so what's the best way in is my first. Yeah. What's the best way in?
You get the sense that you could walk through the front door, but whatever creatures are hiding in that courtyard are going to be able to jump you. So you'd be walking into a fight, but you'd be walking into a fight that you know is coming, so you wouldn't be surprised or anything. Or you could maybe go around the back entrance of the fortress because you figure there's a back entrance as well. Or you know that these fortresses have multiple entrances, and so going in a side entrance would likely allow you to skip the fight. Did you get that?
I caught there's probably a back entrance and then it cut out on me.
I was gonna say that there are multiple entrances. There could be a back one, but there could be a side one. Essentially, there is a different entrance along the side or back that would allow you to potentially skip this fight if you didn't want to go in guns blazing.
Okay. So I do not want to go in guns blazing. I'd rather poke around a side entrance if I can find one.
All right.
I'll
And
throw my gun around a bit and just mess around with it as she says that.
I
I
don't-
that. He says that. Sorry.
don't need a gun. I don't need a gun. Let's go around the side.
all right. And because you got that question and you read a bad situation, you are able to essentially find a side entrance that does not lead you into essentially a big trap. And you get to go deeper into the keep without essentially going through the front door. You go through the side door, and as you kind of go in, you make your way deeper into the keep, into the lower levels. Again, the frost is very well coated here by now, and you're kind of like you can see your breath as you're moving deeper into this keep. And as you kind of turn a corner, you see a man standing in the middle of a room, holding something in his hand, and he seems to look at it, and then he kind of like hefts it for a second and says, "You are not going to stop me." And he turns to you, and as he does, you see he's holding this huge butcher knife. And Bast, now that you've seen it, now that you see him holding this knife, that's exactly what the she gave him. You couldn't make out what it was before when you were having your premonition because it was too fuzzy, but it instantly clarifies in your mind, like, that's it, that's the thing that she gave him, that's part of the deal. That's the thing. That's it. And as he turns, he kind of starts to like morph and shift. His body distorts and almost grows 3 sizes too large. An opposite Grinch effect. Not his heart, but his body is growing, and his teeth get real gnarly looking. And almost elongate snout happens, and you get the sense that like he almost turns into like a wild boar man, like a minotaur, but like boar instead of goat or bull, and not goat minotaurs, no, bull, and he basically like runs at you guys to start attacking.
So, as he's doing that, now normally in Monster of the Week, you can't use manipulate on the monster unless you're a pararomantic.
Correct.
If you're using emotional ties, like I can't just. So I kind of want to see if what I'm trying to do is trying to kind of calm him down and help him see he's only going to lose, like appeal to his emotions of he may have lost everything before, he's only going to lose more right now by attacking us in this place.
Okay, go for it.
We'll see. I don't actually have a lot of hope, but we'll see.
So this is your
Yeah, no, it doesn't
monster
work. I got a 6-. It doesn't matter.
So is this a pararomantic
Yeah.
tagged ability?
Yeah, it's dark. It's in Pararomantic. It's Dark Desires.
Dark Desires. That's what it is.
Yes, but I got a the 5 total. So
Oh no. So yeah, as you try to like reach out to his better side, he kind of like shoulders through you and kind of like knocks you across like the face with his like a backhand, and because he's like monstrous now, it actually like throws you against the wall and you suffer 1 harm, and he barks something that you can no longer understand because it like is like a snout, like snarl, and like these shadows that were casted on the wall start to manipulate themselves and almost start forming these smaller versions of himself that start stepping and like forming. They haven't quite formed yet, but they're like forming around.
So I have a mechanics question, which is so the that bracelet that I have that I mentioned earlier from my lover back in the human realm gives me 1 armor magic. Does that mean I don't take 1 harm?
You don't take 1 harm.
Okay.
So if you have armor, that absorbs the harm.
Okay.
Very cool. All right. So Matthew and Bast, this thing is wielding this huge looking knife and coming at you. It does not look happy.
I'll try jinxing it.
Ooh. All right. So
That's weird.
yeah.
Uh, 11.
11. So on 10 plus, you get to hold 2. So that means you can spend your holds to interfere with a hunter. No, wait.
I have it right here.
Yeah.
Do I have to do that this turn, or do I? Can I do that any turn?
You can do that whenever you would like. So you essentially have 2 hold now. You can interfere with a hunter if you want. Though I wouldn't if I were you. You can help your hunters, so you can give them +1 by interfering with the enemy. You can interfere with what a monster, minion, or bystander is trying to do. You can inflict a harm on a target due to an accident, so you basically just cause an accident to happen because you're spooky. The target finds something you left for them, not quite helpful in combat, or the target loses something that you will soon find. Again, not as helpful in combat. So the jinx is something you can do all of the time. But, yeah, because you basically are a creature of coincidence, which is awesome and scary at the same time. But yeah, so that's your move for now. So that's essentially now you have these floating pool of jinx that you can use at any time.
Okay.
All right. Matthew, are you wanting to do anything to this big beastie?
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Oh,
They're gonna drop out for a second. Come back, Forta.
they're gonna bounce.
Am I back?
Yep.
We can hear
Yep.
you.
Okay. So I'm gonna try some of my magical force again, but this time to try and like trip him up. 'Cause we're in an icy area, and does he have like feet, boots, or hooves right now?
It looks like he's got some kind of hooves right now.
Then I'm gonna try and get him to slip.
So are you using your magical force natural attack, or are you trying to use magic?
I'm using my natural attack, but like that's my goal with the attack, is to try and put him off balance.
Okay, so we'll see what you roll. So you're basically kicking some ass.
So what's that? Tough. Ooh, no.
Uh-oh.
That's a 5.
Oh no! So on a miss, I believe you suffer harm.
Okay.
Actually, doesn't say what happens on a miss, but yeah, on a miss, I believe you suffer harm. So this thing will do. He will basically like slam into you, and you will take 2 harm, but you have armor, right?
Yep.
So you take 1 harm.
2.
So I'm gonna try to do, and Adam, help me make sure that I'm kind of doing this the right way, because this is pulling together a few things. So as I mentioned before, my whole besides channeling Billy Idol, Billy Idol's not actually his lover, right? His lover is a metal vocalist back in the mortal realm. So I'm trying to channel the power of that bond
Okay.
as I use magic. So normally when you use magic, normally it's plus weird. If I channel that power, I can roll plus charm again. But if I miss, then there's a thing called bond abuse.
Yep.
So, but that's what I'm trying. I'm trying to use magic. The effect that I'm looking for specifically is to inflict harm.
Okay.
And so what I'm trying to do is just let out just to channel sort of a sonic blast from her to try to hit him with this 1 harm, ignore armor, magic obvious. Everybody can see it. It's super magical, and it's just trying to channel this magical sonic blast right into him. Does that work?
Awesome. That sounds awesome.
Not if I miss. But I don't. That's gonna be a 9
Okay.
for my use
Yeah,
magic.
So you're trying to do 1 harm. So you do 1 harm. So you're using magic, not actually kicking ass.
Correct.
So yes, you do 1 harm and you ignore and 9 works perfectly or imperfectly. Choose a glitch.
Oh, so I choose a glitch, and then you decide what effect the glitch has. Is that right?
Yeah. So you get to do the effect, which is the inflict 1 harm, but then you get to pick a glitch, and then I get to pick what it does.
The short duration doesn't make sense, so I'm not going to go there. I think me taking 1 harm, ignore armor, makes sense here in some way.
Okay.
And it ignores armor, so it's not like my bracelets that's from her would be able to do
Yeah,
anything.
no, it says you
Yeah.
ignores armor.
Right,
yeah,
exactly.
You would actually take the harm.
Okay.
Yeah, so you like channel the blast, and you like as it's stumbling off kilter, it essentially knocks into you. Kind of. You were like left open to the effects of your song. Your natural. You were channeling that power. So instead of it protecting you, when the damage came in, it wasn't ready basically, and so you take 1 harm and you do 1 harm.
I wasn't ready.
So that means I mark that. Awesome. Okay. That kind of you guys can do however you want to do. With Powered by the Apocalypse, there isn't technically initiative, so you can just do things.
Okay.
You notice that the wispy smoke creatures are pretty much solidified now, and they seem like they are going to be making some problems for you all.
Okay, so while it's off kilter from this blast of sound,
Speaking of off kilter,
Dramatic pause.
the joys of living in the mountains, guys.
Yeah.
So while it's off kilter, I'm gonna draw my sword because magic didn't do me so good last time, and I'm gonna try and disarm him of his weapon. So I
Okay.
guess I'm kicking some ass.
Definitely sounds like.
I'm actually gonna spend a point of luck on that.
Oh no. Okay, so that means
Yeah,
it's a
I'm
12.
just gonna spend luck.
So that means it's automatically a 12. That's never good when the player's like, I'm spending a luck. So that means you get to do harm as normal, and you get to choose one effect. So you can either take an advantage, give an advantage, inflict terrible harm. You can force them where you want them, which I will say if you want to take away their weapon or at least knock their weapon out of their hand, absolutely is something you can do.
Okay. Then yes, I'm going to knock away his weapon to get him where I want him.
Okay, so how much harm do you do? with
I
your sword?
do
Is it 2?
think 2.
2. Okay. As you cut into him, you notice that your sword does not do as much harm as you'd hoped. It seems like he has armor. But as he like tries to block your attack, you basically like knock this meat cleaver out of his hand, and then like kind of cut him. And in the process of cutting him, no, let's walk that back. So you guys basically slash weapons together, and his weapon kind of goes into you, like from the force, but then you kind of like flick up and into him, and his weapon goes out of his hand, and you do harm to him. So he does 3 harm to you with his weapon, and but he is now disarmed, and he kind of like like growls because he's now like this boar minotaur creature, so he doesn't actually speak anymore. And he's like, "Roar!" And like his hand and his eyes track where that weapon just went, seemingly very concerned. All right, anyone else? Fast or Oliver?
Quick question. Does that does that harm ignore armor?
No, it does not ignore armor. So you take 2 harm
Okay.
instead of 3.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump back in again, knowing now that I'm assuming that we could see that he's got some form of armor.
Yeah, you see like this weird, like the skin around his body seems to be like almost undulating and growing as if it's like constantly moving in a very grotesque way.
Okay.
And it seems like it's protecting him.
I want to see if I can figure out what would distract it. So I want to try to use that monster empathy again to see what might distract him.
Go for it.
Nope. You know what? I'm going to spend a point of luck because I haven't done any of that yet.
Okay, so you get a 12.
Right.
Or, yeah, 12. And so that means you get to
I got two
ask
questions. First of all, what would distract him?
What would distract it? You get the sense that that weapon getting knocked out of its hand is very distracting. Like it seems obsessed with that weapon, and that it does not seem to be paying any of you any attention right now.
Okay. And in the context of what it most desires, which is what that question, what this move is about, what would it accept as good enough for now? Or maybe nothing. Maybe it just wants...
It definitely wants to kill that man you saw in the courthouse. That's its number 1 priority, is killing that person. But as kind of intuited, it wants to kill everyone it thinks it's involved in its bad life situation right now. So you're not sure if it would settle for anything.
And we don't know we haven't found a weakness of this thing.
You have not.
But our orders are to to kill it, or to force him to leave the ferry.
Your orders are to kill it or take it prisoner. Because like Matthew, some humans can be made to be useful after they've been corrupted.
Okay.
Most cannot. Most essentially, once they've gone this far, the Shi energy corrupts them, and they become irredeemable. They are. It's like the One Ring. Like Gandalf can't use the One Ring because it will corrupt him and he will do bad things,
right.
even though he wants to do good things. Same thing here. Once these people have accepted the Shi bargain, the Shi energy is manipulating them now, and they can't control themselves
and
anymore.
we can't just take him back to the mortal realm. Like, that's not enough for what the Earth King wants. Okay, just making sure that I recalled correctly. Okay, yeah, I mean, we don't know what's going to actually defeat him.
Nope, but there's definitely other moves you can roll to try and figure that out.
That's true.
I have an idea.
So I'll leave. Okay, I did my thing. Y'all do a thing while I think about what I do next.
All right, so Bast or Matthew, what do you got? What do you got planned?
Hey, Bast, can you give me some cover?
Sure.
Okay. So I'm gonna try and get to that weapon first.
Okay, so it sounds like Bast needs.
Can I help? Yeah. Do I help? Help.
I would say you're trying to either protect someone.
Okay.
Or I'm trying to look at the spooky playbook. You could. Oh wait, you just jinxed. You just used jinx, so you could essentially interfere. You could spend your jinx to interfere with the monster, because it looks like the monster is the human being is going for that weapon as well. And so you're trying to essentially let Matthew get there first.
Yeah, I'll interfere then.
Okay, so you spend one of your holds to essentially. So what happens? What is this jinx? What weird coincidence happens to stop the monster and let Matthew get around it and get to the weapon?
He trips as he's walking towards as he's running towards the weapon.
Okay, so in a very Final Destination-esque, like there were patches of ice, and it seemed like this monster had picked the perfect path to walk through the ice patches, and one of them just like moves and it just hits the ice patch and just slips as your eyes kind of glow slightly as the world has you have manipulated the coincidence of the world around you, and definitely there is no consequences to doing those things. And Matthew, you like dive around the other side, easily able to get to the weapon that was disarmed.
All right. So, how magical would you say this weapon is?
You get the sense it's very magical.
All right. So, seeing as I feed on magical energy, can I try and destroy this weapon in that fashion?
You most certainly can. I will say.
Okay.
I will say that. Oops. This is an act under pressure.
Okay. Which is funny because usually it's do the opposite to avoid doing this. And let's see, that's a 9 plus 2 is 11.
All right.
You do what you set out to do. So you guys all see Matthew pick up the weapon and blink slightly as they realize just how magical it is. And they begin to try and consume the essence that is this weapon, that is this deal. And we'll wait for Forta to get back.
You say that again.
Yep. So we see you pick up the weapon, and your eyes kind of like sparkle for a second as you realize that, holy crap, this is very magical. This is kind of what I want. And you start to inhale, and the bits and pieces of the weapon come off. And as you do, you watch the creature stagger and cry out in pain almost, as if it's somehow connected. But at the same time, as you're consuming this weapon, you also get a little glimpse into like the situation in hand, and that while consuming the weapon would stop this creature from being able to carry out its innermost desires, it won't kill the creature because, like most wrath, the thing that kills wrath is wrath. And so usually people who are seeking revenge are undone by their own revenge. They are essentially killed by their revenge. And so in order to stop this creature, its weakness is the thing that you are holding in your hand. So you have to essentially hurt it with its own weapon because to undo the vengeance.
So,
Oh man.
oh, that changes what I was gonna do. You wanted to, we got to hoist him by his own petard.
But I will say, because of the consumption, I believe the monstrous, when they consume something, don't they get to heal?
I don't actually remember. I know that I have to act under pressure to not do it,
Yeah.
but let's see.
I thought
I don't know that I get a mechanical benefit from the
feeding. Yeah.
curse.
Okay. Then, and I will say, because you acted under pressure so high to begin with, like you chose to try to consume it. You weren't like you're not being tempted. Now, as time goes on, you might be tempted to just eat this thing. But for right now, you know that to stop this thing, you have to inflict harm with this weapon. But it is very magical and tasty, so you might get tempted to eat it.
Okay.
Uh,
I do have unquenchable vitality though, so I'm gonna see if I can heal myself with that,
Okay.
and we'll say it was
yeah,
the
I will say that will lets you do that for sure.
okay. Six,
So, Bast or
11 again.
So yeah, you heal 2 harm.
Sweet.
Yeah, you guys watch as Matu like inhales part of this weapon, which is in of itself a little weird, and then their wounds start to close, and you see that he is now much better looking than they were just a moment before.
Right. So, I kind of want to see if I can distract the monster a little bit while Matu is kind of pulling themselves together to do whatever they're going to do to the monster. So, I think that's more of a help out, but maybe it's to protect someone.
I think protecting someone is actually, you can manipulate someone as a pararomantic.
Yes, I can manipulate them using but I have to use emotional ties.
Oh, that's right.
And I don't think that's good. He's so wrathful; it doesn't feel right.
Yeah, no. So yeah, we'll flavor it with protect someone. So I mean, that's still rough for you with tough.
Yeah, yeah, it is. All right, come on, new dice. Nope. I didn't protect very well at all. I didn't.
Okay, so you get the sense that they are not distracted. You don't suffer any harm from them, but you do suffer harm from the shadow creatures that have entered the fray now, and being ignored, they essentially whacked you in the back of the head, and you suffer 2 harm.
Oh, okay. No, that's not. I'm at 3 harm now, y'all. So,
Bast.
I'll use magic on my knife to give it +1.
Ooh, so you have to roll, right?
Yep, that's weird.
Plus weird.
it's so weird.
8.
8. So for use magic, that means it works imperfectly. So you get to make your weapon a +1 magic, +1 harm, +1 magic, but you have to pick one of the glitches.
Okay.
Which
Any glitch?
yep. So the glitches are: the effect is weakened, the effect is of a short duration, you take 1 harm, the magic draws immediate and unwelcome attention, or it has a problematic side effect.
I'll say it draws attention.
Okay, so the magic draws immediate and unwanted attention. Again, one of those weird shadow creatures that seems to be just angry, almost a mirror to this larger, big monstrosity. Just like immediately hits you with its club, also inflicting 2 harm.
On me?
Yep.
Can I interfere with that?
Yeah, if you want to spend your last jinx, you can, I think, reduce the harm
Okay.
by 1.
Okay.
Let me just double check for your jinx. Interfere. I'll actually say if you're gonna spend it was trying to do. So they're trying to hurt you. So yeah, you'll jinx it and it will like miss and you won't take any harm.
Okay.
But now your jinx holds are used up.
Great.
Matu or Oliver.
Matthew, do it now! Do it now!
Oh, okay. So I'm gonna try and stab the thing. Would it be
Okay.
best to try and stab him between his eyes or in his heart?
You're not sure, but I'm gonna need you to act under pressure first.
So that's 6, 7, 8.
8. That's the keeper is going to give you a worse outcome, a hard choice, or a price to pay. The keeper says. What does the keeper say? You are either going to consume this weapon or you have to throw it away from yourself to stop yourself from consuming it.
Okay, I'm gonna throw it, and I'm gonna try and throw it to shoot, to Bast actually.
Good
He's
choice.
not the one who told me to do it.
Okay.
Well,
so
also, I
Bast,
couldn't use it very well, so that's a good choice.
you see this like weapon tumbling through the air, and you kind of see the monster like try to grab for it. I will say act under pressure to see if you can grab this thing out of the air.
Okay, what is act under pressure?
Act under the pressure is cool.
Okay. Cool. 6.
6.
Can I help?
Can I help?
Sure.
If she
Either
can't.
one of you, only one of you, but yeah, you can help. Plus cool.
Okay. So that's a 10.
Okay, so you definitely grant them plus 1 of your roll, and you don't suffer. So that gets you to a 7. That means I'm going to give you a worse outcome, a hard choice, or a price to pay. Essentially, you can grab this flying meat cleaver, but you're going to drop the magical dagger you just enchanted. Essentially, like to grab it, you're going to let go of your own weapons.
Okay.
That's fine.
Okay.
That's the one that we need anyway, Best.
Yeah.
And technically, Matthew, you still can do something because like that was to resist the compulsion to eat it. So you can still try to do something.
All right, I'm gonna use some magic to try and open up an opening for those two. Hopefully, I succeed. I do. That's 10
Okay, 10 total or higher?
total.
Total. All right, so magic works without issues. Choose what you want to do. You can
Alright, so-
inflict harm. You can do one thing that is beyond human limitations. You can bar a place or trap a specific person, minion, or monster. Banish spirits. Summon a monster into the world. Probably don't want to do that. Communicate with something that you do not share a language with.
Okay, I heard trap, certain minion or monster, banish, and then it cut out on me.
You could summon a monster into the world, which you're pretty sure you don't want to do. You can communicate with something that is that does not share a language with. You can observe another place or time, and you can heal a harm or an injury. So it sounds like you kind of want
I'm gonna
to.
trap.
So what does this look like when you use your magic?
So like, for a moment, it looks like I'm just about to do that magical force attack that I had done prior, and like, and like with that aura of strength that I've got kind of became physical, visible for a moment, just this flash of light, shimmer or something in the air. And this time, instead of just lashing out and being like whack and it's done, it like forms a shield of a sort, and it like presses down on whatever it is I'm trying to trap, which in this case is the boar man.
The boar man, yeah. So you can see it like it pushes him, and it kind of like pins this creature like in place, and it seems like it's going to have a hard time doing much of anything. So we'll say for the purposes of this, you're giving it a +1 ongoing, or excuse me, a -1 ongoing. Yes, you're not helping the monster, you're hurting the monster. Sorry, I was just. I mean, if you want to give the monster +1, you can.
No.
All right. So, what Oliver and Bass, what are we doing?
I want to try. So, I'm assuming Bast is about to attack it with its own weapon, right? Right, Bast?
Yes.
Okay. Then I want to. This is where I definitely want to just try to, help him out in some way. Maybe I'm kind of trying to run up and kind of flank the thing somehow, so it's not able to give its full attention towards him. I'm not jumping in between them. I'm just trying to kind of like, get it where it's like this and give him a little bit of an opening.
Yeah. All right.
So roll plus cool.
Yeah, that sounds like you're trying to help out Bast.
Whew, that's 7. Bash,
So-
don't miss.
Yeah, you grant them +1, but you are definitely in trouble or danger if any danger or trouble happens. So Bass, what are you doing?
Yeah, I'll try attacking him then.
All right. Are you? You didn't take the big whammy, did you?
No.
Okay, just checking. So kick some ass plus tough, and then you have +1 to whatever you roll.
Okay.
Well, plus your tough. Obviously.
Yeah. Six.
Total?
Oh no!
Even with the +1?
Even
Oh,
with the +1?
seven.
Ah! So you do harm, and you're using this thing's meat cleaver. So you do 3 harm to it, although you get the sense that it does more harm than that because it is its weakness. However, on a 7, you both harm each other. So you both, Oliver and Bast, will take 2 harm, and you can reduce that if you have armor. So Oliver, I think you only take 1 harm.
Yeah, but I'm still now past the. I'm at 4, so I guess you need to know that I'm at 4 harm.
Yeah, so technically now you are unstable.
I think I have a different box for unstable. Oh yeah, no, that's right. No, you're right.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm learning.
So your injuries will begin to get worse. It's like
So
it's a one shot. It's a one shot. So this would be more appropriate if this was a longer drawn out campaign, or if you became unstable very early on in the mystery.
But even so, I just kind of see him kind of bleeding. Still, like it's messy. It's not great.
Yeah, but this thing looks like it took a lot of damage when you hit it, and it seems to also have ignored the armor that it had surrounding it. So it's like almost like the armor got out of the way of the weapon as it pierced it. And knowing as you do, you've kind of started to crack the spell that holds this thing together. So now harm that you all do will essentially help hasten this thing to its end. So Matthew, what do you do?
If I attack it, will I lose the effect of that magic? Or rather, does +1 forward mean that next roll made is the one with the +1?
I've given it a -1 ongoing because you rolled so high.
Okay.
On your magic. If it like uses its action to like if you mess up, I can instead of doing harm to you, I can say it rolls out from underneath your magical effect and to kind of like see behind the curtain of the crunch. I only react to your dice roll, so depending on how well you roll, things can go bad. Now, if you were to do
Okay.
another magical effect, like without just your blast attack. If you were to do something else magical, that might end that spell, and you might do a different spell. But yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to take my sword, and I'm going to stab him because I'm very upset, and I want that that cleaver, like, a lot.
I want to eat the cleaver.
I do. It's an 8.
Okay, so on an 8, you do your harm, but it also harms you. So you take 2 harm, -1 for your armor. Back? Not
I
yet.
can't hear you.
Oh, there you go. You're back?
I am.
Okay, so on an 8, you take 2 harm, but you have armor, so you only take 1 harm. And your sword is 2 harm?
Yes.
Okay, so it seemingly takes 2 harm. All right. And it seems like you kind of like stab into it, and it's like, ah, and as you stab into it, even though it's like pinned with a shield, it kind of like swings its meaty fist at you. And also kind of like the minions around you are kind of like starting to get more riled up as it gets more and more damaged. Oliver and Bast?
I'll use magic to heal myself up. 1 harm.
Okay, so roll weird.
11.
All right, so you get to do the effect. No glitches, no nothing. So you channel magic into yourself, and your wounds start to close a little bit, and you heal 1.
Yep.
Oliver?
I think that I'm going to try to channel magic again to this thing and see what I'm trying to achieve specifically is to make sure that I understand how this works. Since we've used the weakness and it's taken some of that harm, then it quote unquote counts for it, even if the harm that brings it to its final, whatever the final box. In other words, it doesn't have to be that the final box being marked off has to use this weakness. Is that
correct? So once you use a monster's weakness against it, they're essentially vulnerable now. Now
okay.
You can finish them off.
Okay, so it's like a flag that said it's not that particular bit of harm has to be. Okay, all right. Yeah, in that case, yeah, I'm definitely trying to use magic against it, but I'm channeling the power again from my guide. The thing, so if everybody's watching, it's not like just a cheat, because every time I do that, if I mess up, or anytime I spend a point of luck, our relationship gets worse.
Yep.
So, like, that's already happened once. I had to mark one off because spending a point of luck. So, yeah, she pissed. Jesus, she's going to be mad again. Because that's a 5. That's a 5. I mean, yeah.
So you're gonna spend another luck point?
Yeah, this is kind of towards the end. So, yeah, I'm going to spend the luck point. Because I'm going to take the hit to the relationship anyway.
Yep. So
I might as well. And so, yeah, I'm trying to inflict... That one should inflict 1 harm, ignoring armor.
Yep. It does. And you see this thing. So what is your magical attack? Is it, again, another...
It's another one of these sonic blasts. So it's... this time, though, like, when he opens his mouth, you don't hear his voice. You hear a you know, kind of death metal growl, like a woman's death metal growl coming out. You know.
Very cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can see like it's like fur and hair is like blown back from when and it like you can see it like kind of peel back because again this armor is not as strong as it used to be, and its skin seems to be slowly melting almost as if whatever power was enchanting it is starting to break. I think Matu/Forta is here, not here. Nope, they seem
Yes.
to be. Oh, they are here. Hell yeah! So, Matu and Bast, you are kind of on deck / moving around.
Can I-
Can I use my telepathy to tell it to just like ignore us, like just to sit still while we attack it? Or
I don't think you're that strong.
okay. What about just to like run, or like a.
Finish him.
Yeah,
I was trying to think of a way to use my telepathy or
I mean, you could try to use your telepathy to read a bad situation, to then figure out the best way to finish this creature off, maybe. Or you
Do
could.
I still have the knife?
The knife is like you could go try to look for your knife, so you could.
No, not my knife.
Oh yeah, you still have the cleaver.
Okay. Does that
Just
hurt
hit
me
it.
whenever I? Does that always hurt me when I attack with it, or is that something?
So it depends on how well you kick ass, essentially. So if you kick
Okay.
ass with a 10 plus, you can choose to suffer less harm, and therefore not get hurt as much. So if you kick ass with a 10 plus, then you suffer less harm.
Okay.
But- To clarify, that's a mechanic of the game, not the weapon being used.
Right.
Yes, correct.
Okay. Then I'll attack it. I'll attack again.
All right, so roll plus tough.
Plus tough. Okay. I'll use luck.
So that's second time you've used luck, right? Just
Yep.
checking. All right, so that's a 12 on the die. That means so you get to choose one effect. So you're going to do the harm that the weapon does, but you get to either take +1 forward or give +1 forward. That means you give +1 or take +1 for the next thing you do. You can inflict an additional damage. You can suffer less harm, meaning you will take less harm when it hurts you, and or you could force them where you want them to go. So if you want them to do something else than other than being pinned by this weird magical shield, you could.
I'll do extra harm.
Extra harm. Excellent. All right. So as you kind of like slice into this thing again, like its hoof like kicks out and like kind of clips your leg/knee area and kind of sends you backwards, inflicting 2 harm to you. But you do.
Oh, that would put me at 4 then.
Okay. So you're unstable. You're still fine, but now you're starting to essentially bleed out. So when he kicks you in the knee, maybe you hear this not nice sounding crunch as your knee kind of goes the wrong way.
Okay.
Any of the athletes in the channel, I apologize. I know that sometimes is not a fun thing to think about. But this blade, again, its weakness just carves into this thing's hide, and you see like chunks of it start to just slough off, and it doesn't seem like the magic has much power left. Matthew, what are you doing?
Hey, can I have that weapon? Can I take a swing with it?
You could certainly try, but you need to act under pressure first.
Yep. I'm asking Bass though if he'll.
Over to where he is to give it to him.
Sure.
Thanks.
Well, you said my knee was broken or whatever, so I'm guessing I'm just laying on the ground.
So I'm gonna come to you then.
Okay, I would appreciate that.
That's 8.
So an 8 is enough. I will say that you can use it, but you are going to consume it after you're done using it.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So you grab the weapon, you rear back, and kick some ass.
Okay. So what? That's 2 harm? No, the
no,
cleaver does like 3 harm.
Well, you got to roll to kick some ass first.
Oh, right. You're right.
So you
Sorry.
could miss and then consume it.
Which is exactly what occurs!
Yes. However, being the benevolent dictator DM that I am, you still have plenty of luck left if you would like to just spend a luck point. It could be funnier to just consume this weapon, but
Okay, so like
letting you, the player, know you do have luck.
okay, so we've already done its harm with that weapon.
Yep.
So it's already weakened.
Yep.
So I'm just gonna consume it.
Okay.
Weapon is eaten.
So you go to swing and you kind of miss because the thing moves slightly and you weren't expecting it to be able to move as much as it did. And again, it lashes out at you. So you take 2 harm for missing, and then you stagger back and you just kind of like instinctually in reaction to being damaged, you just like, and the cleaver is gone, and you consume it.
Wait, how much harm did I take?
2 harm.
Okay.
And you hear this guttural like no as you have consumed its object of power, and you all watch as your companion just like inhales this weapon, like it just like it like turns into like sparkly powder and just goes inside of Matu's mouth. It's just like ooh, and maybe it even like absorbs through his hands and things. As it just kind of like just being in proximity to this magical item, it just is consumed.
Yes.
So Oliver and Bast, what are you doing?
Don't like that. Not.
I'll heal myself again.
Okie doke. So go ahead and roll plus weird.
8.
8. So you have to pick a glitch.
Okay.
What glitch are we picking today?
Let's see. Problematic side effect.
Problematic side effect. Excellent. So as you heal yourself, your wounds start to close, but as they do, you realize that the magic that you tried to channel in yourself, you channeled it a little bit too hard, and essentially you kind of winded yourself. So you will have -1 on whatever the next thing you do.
Okay.
Oliver, what are we doing?
It's still up. It's still going.
It looks real rough, though.
It just keeps taking more.
Yep, it does.
So I'm confused about the armor. Is the armor no longer functioning?
You kind of get that sense. That
Okay.
It
Then-
seems like the armor has been broken.
I'm going to take that mic stand, whirl it around my head for a minute, and try to just smack it across the face. Not that I'm likely to do very well, but
Kick ass. Kick some
kick
ass.
some ass. All right. And with a rebel yell, I tell you I have an 8.
Okay, so you will inflict harm, which is...
It's going to be...
2.
No, mine is... derp. Mine is 1 armor magic. No, wrong thing. Got the wrong thing. Yeah, 2 harm. Yeah.
2 harm. Yeah, I kind of figured a lot of things are mostly 2
Yeah,
harm.
2 harm, hand, innocuous, messy. So it's messy.
So you kind of like knock into his face and like teeth go flying.
Yeah. I mean, you got a big old microphone stand. You hit somebody with it. Yeah, I just have to get up
gonna
kind of
hurt.
close to it. Yeah.
But as you like kick, as you knock into its face, it reaches out and basically just punches you right in the stomach. You take 2 harm.
I'm in very bad shape now. Very. I'm not dying.
Yeah, you're looking a little rough. Indeed.
Yeah.
All right, Matu and Bass.
Finish him!
I'm gonna stab.
I'm gonna stab him.
Yep.
I like
I
it.
pull out my sword because I find myself without a weapon. It's like, oh, that was maybe a bit premature. So
Guys, that almost never happens.
almost. It's been known to happen. I'm sorry. So I draw my sword and I try and stab.
Kick some ass.
Do the thing. Oh, come on.
I'll jinx.
12.
I'll jinx them again.
So you have to roll Jinx first, so go ahead and roll Jinx. Oh, 12. On a 12 plus, you can pick an enhanced effect.
I want to deal some catastrophic damage.
All right, so you deal double the normal harm. So you deal 4 harm.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So as you go to deal harm, Bast, you see, you watch as the sword goes through the thing's eyeball into its brain, and it starts twitching. And the shadow creatures that were about to impale your friend Matsu stop and just kind of fade away. And Matsu, as your sword is like stuck in the creature, you watch as part of it breaks away and it starts reshaping itself into a person. Not the head part where you have skewered, but like the rest of its body, kind of the mass is enough to assemble its person. And you see the person like reach vaguely towards you and says, "I just wanted him to pay." And his hand falls limp to the ground, no longer moving. And you have vanquished this creature. And as you do so, you watch as the magic that was holding essentially this pig boar man together starts to discorporate, and it breaks into pieces, and each of you feels this infusion of magical energy as the she magic imbues all of you, and technically this would count as an advance. And for those of you that are currently unstable, you become stabilized.
That's good because I had 1 HP or whatever it's called. I had 1 more harm would have taken me to dying, and I was also unstable.
Yeah, so you're no longer unstable. You're stabilized, and technically that would have given you enough for an advance. And so your hunt ends. This man's desire for wrath and vengeance led him to this place where he made a deal. And you, as consuming this she essence, you actually get part of the deal, and you get part of what was going on. It turns out that this person, Vince. I just wrote his name down.
Morton.
Vince Morton. Thank you.
Morton.
Vince Morton was the last son in a long line of Mortons who owned this slaughterhouse since the 1900s, and that a man by the name of Archie Toller was responsible for closing down the slaughterhouse so that they could buy the land and put up essentially a big box store. And it was in the way. It was prime real estate where they wanted this big box store, and he wouldn't sell. He would never sell. And based on Vince's memories, that Archie lied, and he paid someone off. That was part of the memory that you weren't able to see. That he paid someone off to declare the slaughterhouse in violation of health codes, and that was what gave the judge the order necessary to close him down. That it was one violation too many, and that was why he lost the slaughterhouse. And the sheriff had to enact it shut down, and that's why he was pissed at the sheriff. And you kind of get all of this flood of memories and information as you envelop this she energy. And you are able to return to the Earl King's castle without issue. You have successfully completed the hunt. You have felled the dangerous beast, and you have protected the lands of Fairy for at least a little while longer.
Before we head back,
Yes.
I would have turned to Bast and I'd have turned to Oliver and asked if there was anything that they could do from this end. Because I can't, but could they
To do
something to find or I guess make it easier for justice to be doled out properly? Because the man lied. There's got to be evidence of that, right?
I don't know if this is the biggest problem we got to deal with. Mortals.
Yeah, I'm not sure what I can do.
So, Bast, if you want to try and channel some of your weird, you could certainly try.
To do what?
So basically, you would try to be pushing a jinx out into the mortal realm. You've maybe never tried this before, so you have no idea what's going to happen. But
Okay. uh, 12.
yeah, so you think about it for a moment, and your eyes like flip back, and you're like, well, I did something. I don't know what's going to happen. And we flash to a scene not of this world, in the mortal world, and we see a man that you've seen only in a courtroom once, and you didn't know his name until very recently. Archie Toller walks down the street, and he seemingly is just normal, everyday walking down the street, and there's this weird fell wind that blows through the town, and on this fell wind, you hear almost like a sound of glass shatter. And then we realize that it is glass shattering, and that someone has thrown something out of a window, and it comes hurtling down towards Archie. Bast, what crazy item was accidentally thrown out of a window and is about to impale Archie?
What item?
Yeah, so what was accidentally thrown out of a window and is about to kill this man?
A rock?
A rock. So for some reason, someone threw a rock at someone else inside the building, or maybe someone had a rock collection and I mean, who would have a rock collection? And the rock fell out of the window, and it just hurtles down, and this man, minding his own business, is killed instantly. The jinx seeming having taken effect, and fairy justice is swift and a little bit extreme.
And a little messy.
And a little messy. And so, Bast, you're like, I think I did something. And you're not sure what you did. You didn't know that you just killed this man, but that is what happens. So you are able to return to the Earl King, and the Earl King greets you with, well done. I knew I could count on all of you to see it through. I'm glad that you have stopped this incursion once again. Please, feast, celebrate your victorious hunt.
Thank you.
And Bast, as you were the person that notices before, you see your deeds start becoming a part of the tree bark. And even though the Earl King wasn't there, the scenes from your hunt seemingly etch themselves into this sequoia tree. And that is the one shot.
Yay!
I hope you all enjoyed my weird, twisted take on Monster of the Week.
That was better than I was unsure how well that twist would work, and I liked it. I had confidence because that's why I came to play. But
Well, that's good.
I was like, well, let's see, and it was pretty cool.
And
Yeah, that was pretty fun.
we did skip a little of the mechanics, especially with like bystanders and victims and things like that. Like, it was a little bit more hack and slash than perhaps Monster of the Week can be. So for those of you that have played Monster of the Week before, I apologize. For those of you that have never played Monster of the Week before, know that it doesn't always end in a knockdown, drag-out fight. Sometimes you can do other things, and there are other monsters of the week, like effects and paranormal activity and things like that we could have fought against. But I basically rolled dice and picked random sin, random fae, random she thing. Like I just randomized it, so that's the one we came up with today. So with that, we will, I guess, do the outro. So I will let my players do their outro first. We will start with Forta, just in case they drop again.
All right. Again, I'm Forta, Fortavare, or Lex Arts with 2 X's on various social media. You'll find me on Tumblr, Instagram, Twitter sometimes. Yeah, this has been a great time, and if you aren't already subscribed to Variant Roles, I recommend it highly, because, like, this group is great.
Second that motion. All right, Kyle, down to you.
I'm Kyle. I'm TechnoScald on Twitter and a few other places. I write a blog at technoscald.me on D&D and role-playing games, and I also live here on Variant Roles. Well, I say that, actually, most of my games are taking a break, so tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Central is the last episode of this arc of Gothic Brunch, and then next Saturday night, starting while this game is partway going, at 7 p.m. Central, Forda and I and a few other people will be playing Blades in the Dark over on my channel, TechnoScald here on Twitch, for a while, and just giving that a shot. So if you're not watching Monster of the Week, come watch us, and it'll be kind of open table so other people have a chance to pop in and play. It's a fun way to do it. And lots of stuff happening on Variant Roles, so just Moobot knows everything, so I'm not going to recap it all. Just look at Moobot.
Moobot sort of knows.
Oh, I will say this though. It is September, so Dan asked us to, and the other creative council to mention, subs are cheaper this month. So if you're going to support Variant Roles, this is a good time to do it. And thanks to folks who are already doing it, really it just goes back into being able to make paying artists and things like that. Nobody's actually making any money from this. This is just to make sure that by any stretch, the folks who are like the folks that we depend on who do real work are getting their due.
Exactly. All right, Mike.
I'm Mike. I'm Silent Chariot on Twitter. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, pretty much it. Okay. And then I am Adam. I am Adam_J_Pearson on the social media. I also sort of mostly live here on Variant Roles. There will be Gothic Brunch tomorrow. There will be things in the Moobot knows as well. No As the Sun Burns this night, because as we said earlier, Dan is currently fighting a hurricane.
He's doing it bare-chested with his fists,
bare-chested, with his dark void magic. Yep.
Right. He's got like these weird tentacles coming out of his back and striking the weather pattern.
He's definitely Canada's defender. They don't know it, but he is. And you can watch us again next week. I am running 3 one-shots in a row, basically filling a void in Variant Roles scheduling. So if you're not watching Blades in the Dark and you want to watch more Monster of the Week, you can come watch us next Saturday at the same time. I'm also game mastering a Fate-based game on Friday evenings on this channel. So 8 to 11. So if you're not a go out at night on Friday nights, like most of us probably, come watch us play Dresden Files in Portland. The first game was last week or yesterday. It was literally yesterday. My players have given me so many plot threads that I am GM at Christmas. So happy. And I want to say thank you to Scraticus, though they're probably still not in the chat anymore, for the raid earlier. And happy birthday to Scraticus, because it was their birthday stream today to try and raise money. So happy birthday to Scraticus and that whole channel and everything they do. We heart you and the things you do as well. So thank you for supporting us as well. I believe we are going to raid, I think we wanted to raid Other Doc because they are technically playing as Invisible Sun tonight. So while Variant Roles won't be while Variant Roles isn't playing Invisible Sun, that doesn't mean you have to miss Invisible Sun. So thank you for joining us on this crazy ride, and
bye, folks.
Have a nice night.
Let's go raid.
Bye.
Bye.